The King of New Orleans, Saints offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak, on looking forward to matchup against Dallas and being versatile. Ladies and gentlemen, this is New Orleans Football. We are filming this ahead of the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Klint Kubiak, who I believe they are building a statue for him right now in the French Quarter, is the king, is what we thought he was. He is our savior, our hero. He is all the things. And now he has a very complicated matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. How can he neutralize Micah Parsons? How can he keep the momentum moving forward for the Saints offense? We're going to hear all those things. Again, ladies and gentlemen, New Orleans Football providing the video. Always go check out their content if you want day-to-day, second-to-second New Orleans Saints information. If I look a little red, ignore it. This time of the day, the studios, downtown New Orleans, the sun is shining right in the studio, so I have to change the exposure on the camera. So fear not, I am not slowly morphing into a kielbasa. It's just, it is what it is. Here we go.
What makes a good motion in terms of not motion just a motion, but rather drawing the defense? How do you? Are there things that can sell a motion better than one play?
Yeah, so a good motion, the motion in the ocean, as we all know, a good motion is any kind of motion that can give you information on the defense, right? So the idea of motion just to motion is definitely something we're seeing now in football, where you see a lot of players just running all over the place. They're just running left and right. They run 40 yards before the play even is snapped, and then it's just a complete disaster. It's just a complete mess. But if you utilize motion correctly, you are trying to glean information from the defense of what they're doing. So I would say any kind of motion that gives you info is the right kind of motion.
Good players, that's what it's all about, getting them opportunities. So however the best player does it, that's usually the best one.
There you go.
So you must have heard from people after the first game characterizing your debut as they saw it on this team. What kind of things did they say, and how did you react to it?
On to the next game. We got a long season ahead of us. Was proud of our players, and just ready to get to the next game, which is a big challenge this week in Dallas.
Okay, so I do agree with this wholeheartedly. We celebrated a couple of days. We celebrated Sunday. We celebrated Monday. I think we even celebrated into Tuesday. But at that point, ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember, there are 17 games. We were supposed to beat the Panthers. We were 100% supposed to beat the Panthers. And, yeah, we looked really good doing it. Yeah, it was a fantastic win. But if we lose to Dallas, lose to Philly, lose to KC, lose to Atlanta, and then all of a sudden we're 1-4, who cares about the Panthers, right? Who cares about this performance? Now, philosophically, yes. Philosophically, we should care about this performance. And the fact that my guy, Stephen Patton from Patton Analytics, released his week 1 offensive play caller sheet, and Klint Kubiak was number 1 after Pete Carmichael was paying rent on the bottom of that list last year. That's a huge deal, 100%, and we should all be happy about that. But I do agree with Klint, his debut, so I'm sure he did get a lot of congratulations, great job, you great game plan, whatever. But to think the job is done, or to think that, pop bottles, whatever, at this point, I'm filming this on Friday. I'm not sure when this interview was, but I would think this entire team, I would hope this entire team, this entire staff has completely forgotten about Carolina. So, yeah, if we're sitting at 1-4, who cares? Who cares about how good this looked against Carolina? But if we put up a good showing, and that's not to say that we have to beat Dallas or Philly or KC or whatever. If we look good against Dallas but still lose, that's a lot of positives to take. That Atlanta game is the one that's on my calendar. I think if we beat that, if we win in Atlanta and we're 2-0 in the division and we've looked decent against tough teams like Dallas, Philadelphia, and Kansas City, I'll be the happiest man on earth.
So what challenges, just with the talent they have on their front, what kind of challenges does that present?
Yeah, great front, really good personnel, good in the secondary, well coached. It's just a elite defense in the NFL, so it'll be a big-time challenge for our players.
And what are just some of the hallmarks of Zimmer's defense and just some of the things that, you think he does pretty well?
By the way, Kubiak was on Zimmer's staff in Minnesota, so a little familiarity there on both sides.
Physical, create turnovers. Really, all the anything you could say about a great defense. That's what he preaches. He's a heck of a coach.
Does being familiar with him help at all, or how does that impact things?
Yeah, definitely. Familiar with Coach Zim, and would love to say how grateful I am for Coach Zim for a lot of things. Really enjoyed my time working for him. Made me a better coach. But his defense is excellent. Got a really sound scheme. Really good coaches on his staff. Guys that have a lot of experience, and we have a big job to do this week, but we're just going to focus as much as we can on us, because not trying to worry too much about them, just trying to get better at what we do, and I think that'll be really a main focus for us.
Real quick, obviously we're going to cover, we're going to preview the Cowboys game in depth in multiple different avenues, but real quick, like his defense or this defense, what they're going to try and do, or what we have to focus on neutralizing Micah Parsons. Do not allow him to dictate the game, as we saw him dictate the game in Cleveland. And then their secondary is a very boom or bust secondary. They will absolutely risk it for the biscuit, as they say. They will absolutely try and force turnovers, try and make big plays. But in turn, that does leave them a bit susceptible to big plays. And it does leave them wide open for plays over the top and kind of breakout plays. So on one hand, we've got to figure out best possible way to keep Micah Parsons in check. Second is we got to take advantage of a defense that does get a little risky.
You kept up with him the last couple of years? Is that...
Yes.
Clint, what do you kind of view as like the most important thing in the red zone? It's obviously an area where this team's kind of been off and on in the past couple of years. So, what's your main kind of mission down there?
I think we definitely have a philosophy and things we talk about with the players, things that I'd love to keep between myself and the players.
I mean, I just don't understand why I have to be in a sequel of Top Gun every time when they're doing this. This is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Get these guys inside in a media room. We can't even see the practice field. We can't even see the facility. We have a fake backdrop that they put up. What's the difference if there's a 15 by 15 media room where they do interviews? I mean, it blows my mind. They might as well be out. They might as well be on the tarmac.
But it's obviously a major point of emphasis with Coach DA finishing drives
I'm about
down
to get
there.
bombed.
I think it's just like the same focus you have on first and second down. You're just trying to win the down, and when you get down in the red zone, the guys got to smell blood and punch it in. So I think our guys did a good job of that in week one, and week one's over now, and it's on to the next.
Yeah, I think the red zone is an interesting kind of philosophical place, like where Clint was just saying, where when you're in the red zone, you want your offense to quote unquote smell blood. You want your offense to be like, okay, we're right there, we're on the doorstep, let's knock it in. Some offenses, Pete Carmichael, get real concerned and real conservative in the red zone. Like they see the red zone, and instead of smelling blood, they almost say, okay, don't screw it up. They almost say, like, okay, we're pretty close. Like, let's not turn the ball over. Let's not have a negative play. If we got to kick a field goal, we'll kick a field goal. In today's NFL, field goals don't get the job done. You can't kick field goals all day long and win in this league. So I like this mindset of keep the offense similar, win the down, and get into the end zone. The idea of like, hey, we're in the red zone, let's not get crazy here. That's an old school mentality that I think cost a lot of teams the Raiders games. The Raiders kicked a field goal last week, I believe, on the 11. They're right there, and they settle for a field goal. I think when you're in the red zone now, I'm not saying never kick a field goal, but you certainly, it's more imperative now than ever that you get the touchdown.
What did you make of Derek's just overall aggressiveness in the first game, and when he decided to push the ball downfield versus when he didn't?
Yeah, I thought he did a phenomenal job, and it was just how he practices. So it's a lot like our other guys. You know, they made some good practices. They put some good things on film there, and then usually when they get to Sunday, you don't get a whole lot of surprises. So I'm proud of his effort as well as his teammates. You know, the line, receivers, tight ends. It was a team effort.
Clint, Derek said yesterday that there's some things that you've done in this offense that kind of help him look at the game in a different way than he has before. How much do you think something like that plays a role in trying to pick up a new offense so quickly?
Yeah, well, I think it goes the other way too. I think he's taught me a lot of things. So when you're working with a veteran quarterback like that, it's seen that much football. They get up to speed really quickly, and I just give a lot of credit to him. And the main thing with him is, you know, he knows just how he knows how important every little detail is, and he helps me, you know, convey that to the rest of the offense. So he's a coach on the field, and he's off to a solid start, but we got a long way to go.
Klint has mentioned before, or Derek has mentioned, multiple offensive players have mentioned that Klint is a very detail-oriented coach, and the entire coaching staff is always harping on these very small details. You know, get the ball here, ball's got to be delivered here, your feet need to be here. All of that. So when you have a very detail-oriented game plan or a very detail-oriented offense, the best person to run that is an 11-year veteran, because Derek Carr understands the small details of an offense. It's difficult for a rookie or an inexperienced quarterback to understand and recognize all those details. So 4 months ago, when this marriage happened, we said, like, Derek Carr is kind of the perfect person experience-wise to run this offense. He's the perfect person you would want with an offense like this that's built on reading the defenses, that's built on pre-snap motion, that's built on all of that, and then all of these tiny details. Like having Carr being the one to do it is fantastic for the Saints.
Clint, obviously that first touchdown to Rashid Shaheed, you know, depended on the look that you guys saw, but how much of just the concept of wanting to be aggressive on the opening drive, that, you know, a 3rd and 4 situation right away early in the opening drive was behind that?
That's, you know, just something that we practiced, and I thought the guys did a good job of executing. I think it was really, honestly, a pretty routine deal that we practiced, and DC identified coverage, and Rashid made a great play, and we protected it. So, you know, it's just like a lot of plays that sometimes you check the ball down for 5 yards, and no one talks about it, but you maybe were searching for one thing and they gave you another. So I thought the quarterback did a good job at his key in the defense.
I will say this, Klint says, yeah, it's a pretty routine deal. Brother, I can tell you this, for the last couple of years, scoring on the opening possession is anything but routine, my man. So, yeah, that probably does seem pretty routine to him, but scoring the opening possession, much less pushing the ball downfield, is anything but routine for the last couple of years here in New Orleans.
You guys spent a lot of time under center as opposed to being like shotgun, pistol in week 1. Does that help you guys with, like?
Sidebar. I was having this conversation. I want to know what y'all think about this. We say New Orleans. Do you say New Orleans instead of New Orleans, right? But when you say the parish, you say Orleans Parish. When you say Orleans Avenue, you say Orleans too. So the only time we ever say New Orleans is when you have the new in front of it. So that makes me think, should it be New Orleans? If it's Orleans Parish and Orleans Avenue, it does kind of seem like it should be New Orleans. Let me know what you think. I've had this conversation. I've had this TED Talk multiple times. And you know, the answer just seems to be like, no, it's New Orleans. It's like, well, except for these two very obvious times when it is Orleans. So I'm befuddled.
You want to do in the run game, what you want to do in the play action games, and kind of why, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I think we're going to try to mix it up, but I think our guys have executed that well thus far, and I think it'll be a week-to-week thing. You know, what do we think helps us to win that ball game? And
I love that.
It just so happened, you know, last week that's what it was, but definitely want to be versatile.
I love that answer. Where it's like, we're going to try and win the game. Like, we're not worried about, like, okay, we want to run the ball 20 times every single game. Okay, we want to throw the ball, whatever, 16 times every single game. We want to get Chris Olave blank touches every game. We want to win the game. So if winning the game means throwing the ball 78 times, we'll throw it 78 times. If winning the game means running the ball 247 times, we'll do that. right? So that is an indicator that the offense is alive. The offense is fluid. You know, our staff, whether it's Kubiak or Janoka or whoever, they're looking play-by-play in the game. They are not sitting back and saying, here's our game plan, put your feet up and hope it works. Like, that's not how this team's going to operate, and thank God, because that's not how we should operate. I love to hear that. I love to hear that it's a play-by-play, game-by-game basis of what this offense will look like.
How much of the original concept you had for your offense evolved as you got to know Derek? Like, if any, did you kind of come in with, this is exactly how I envisioned this to be, or did it evolve as a little bit as you kind of talked with him over the next few months? Or first
yeah, we had an installation that was set, and then as you learn your players and you evolve and try to do what they do well. So I think that's been the goal all along, is to get a base installation in, and then start just keep learning the guys. And we had such great attendance in April, you know, and we were able to learn our guys, and that's what our job is as coaches, is to put those guys in successful situations.
How do you view getting, when you're on the sideline, getting feedback from skilled players during a game about what they feel is working, and can that influence in a substantial way how you call the rest of the game?
Yeah, I mean, there's always discussion back and forth, good and bad, and it's just part of the flow of the game. You know, my relationship with the guys and our conversations between drills and practice. You know, and then you get out to the dome, and it's just like practice. You know, you're talking in between when you need to. When you don't need to say anything, you don't need to talk to each other. So it's part of the game within the game, definitely.
Was your first hurricane experience in Louisiana? I'm sure maybe you went through a couple in Houston. I don't know.
No, that was my first one, and you know, thankfully.
Yeah, Hurricane Francine blew on through. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone watching was safe and sound, and everything was okay. Your boy down here didn't lose power. So shockingly, a lot of people around me lost power, but I did not lose power. So that was all good, man. I was all good. Had me some snacks. You know, bunkered down. Obviously, you know, at that night knocked out some famous Amos mini cookies. Some of those Frito twists. I had what was another snack? The spicy dill pickle Miss Vicky chips. I feel like there was one more I'm missing out on. But those snacks had some sunflower seeds rocking and rolling, but never. And then about 16 beers, but never lost power. So hope everybody else had a good hurricane experience as well, for sure.
For that, it was you know, everybody was safe, family, and not just my family, but all the players and coaches and Saints organization did a great job of taking care of us here.
Did you get a chance to go home, or did you sleep at the facility?
No, we had a chance to break for the night, so we got to go home.
Damn it. I was begging for Klint to say he slept at the facility, because I fully believe he would sleep at the facility, hurricane or not. Doesn't matter. He's sleeping there. Damn it, Klint.
Klint, the fan base is really excited about your debut. Have you been able to get a sense of that, like just walking around town or anything, or going to the grocery store? Or?
No, we're locked in, and we know how that goes too, right? It goes both ways, so we better.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if it's 35-0 Dallas this week, the fan base will be swinging the other way. So Klint is right. He knows how that goes.
Get our butts back to work and get ready for the next game. That stuff doesn't last long, so
100%.
We're just focusing on Dallas.
It's kind of related to my first question, because I meant it more as a personal thing, like Rod did, than a professional thing.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, you know, I mean, when you heard, I assume you heard from your dad. Like, I don't know how private that is, but did he just say on to the next game and didn't tell you good job, or did he say that was a pretty nice start? You know, don't let it go to your head, or like what? How does that stuff go?
You know, it's always a little different with him, and you know, we talked about the good and the bad, and then started talking about family stuff. So I think we probably talked about the game for about 5 minutes, and you know, then he started asking me some questions about Dallas. So
I mean, like, the question is just so crazy. Like, the question is, like, I mean, really, like, ladies and gentlemen, really put yourself in Klint Kubiak's position and Gary Kubiak's position, where this is game one. You are playing arguably the worst team in the NFL. We knew that. A lot of other people didn't know that. You're supposed to win. You're at home. You get the job done. It would be crazy for Gary Kubiak to come knocking on Klint's door and lauding him for how great his performance was. Like Klint Kubiak is he is the offensive coordinator for an NFL team. If he was jumping up and down, celebrating, and his whole family's throwing him a party because they dog walked the Panthers at home, I'd be concerned. I'd be really concerned. So thank God there's a little bit of pullback from Klint. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the
It's kind of how his mind works as well.
interview. Yep. There you go. Great guy. I love him. I love Klint Kubiak like a brother. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. The sun, I'm telling you, the sun, that's what's creeping in on the side. I'll show you all what it looks like if I don't have like the correct aperture or whatever. Look at that. Look at that. That's blowing out. That is blowing out. That's how bright it is in the studio. But so we got to work a little magic to make things happen. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Our continual coverage of the New Orleans Saints Dallas Cowboys will be all weekend long. TGIF. Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. Multiple videos every single day. This week, we had 3 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. And we're going to keep multiples coming. So thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.